Stand, Kneel, Now What? Season 2, Episode 6, Lent. Hi, my name is Karen. I like to say that I'm the good kind of Karen. I am first and foremost a daughter of God, a wife, mom of 2, and I recently came home to the Catholic Church. I love my faith so deeply that I want others to love it too. Whether you are a cradle Catholic, Catholic curious, or you have come home to the Catholic Church as an adult like I have, Stand, Kneel, Now What is the show for you. Through my love and lots of blunders, my goal is to help you along your faith journey. Our paths may be different, but all of our roads need to lead home so that we can be with our Father. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stand, Kneel, Now What? I am Karen Estep, and I am your host. I am really excited to talk about this episode because just like every other Catholic page, podcast, Instagram account, we are going to be discussing Lent. This episode will air on Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, and Lent starts for everybody on Ash Wednesday. So, we are going to be discussing some things that you can add to your life, as well as a funny story about something I tried to take away from my life, and some things that you could also think about sacrificing this Lenten season, because the goal is ultimately to prepare your heart, to prepare your soul, and be ready for the whole season of Easter that's coming up. So, my favorite Sunday of the year, and it has been since I was a teenager, is Palm Sunday. And I like to think of the week between Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday as a roller coaster, because Palm Sunday is the triumphal entry where Jesus goes in and everybody's super excited. And then, of course, on Good Friday, he dies on the cross for us, and then he rises again on Easter. So our emotions as Christians during that Holy Week are just like we are all over the place. And so I really think that Lent is a season for us to really prepare our hearts for that emotional roller coaster. And in that time, we learn obedience. We learn how to say no to things. We learn to sacrifice. And I just think it is one of the most beautiful ways that we can work on our relationship with Christ during this time. So, just like we do every episode, we are going to do a prayer that is uniquely Catholic. And this one is uniquely Catholic. However, I think all Christians should be praying this prayer. This is the prayer that I added into my life last Lenten season. I'd actually heard about this prayer on a podcast that my friends are part of. And I was listening to it and I went, man, that is the prayer that I need. And so I prayed this prayer with this podcast as a seed in my heart and in my soul. And I really prayed into it, asking God that if I was supposed to continue on with the desire to do Stand, Kneel, Now What, that he would make it for his good and not for me. And that takes a lot of humility. And I think all Christians can use a lot of humility at different points in their life. So this prayer is called the Litany of Humility. You can Google it. It's on several prayer apps. You can also re-listen to this podcast anytime you would like. This will be our last week with the Litany of Humility. Hopefully, I'll find a shorter prayer, especially for my voice. So here we go. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. O Jesus, meek and humble of heart, hear me. From the desire of being esteemed, deliver me, O Jesus. From the desire of being loved, deliver me, O Jesus. From the desire of being extolled, deliver me, O Jesus. From the desire of being honored, deliver me, O Jesus. From the desire of being praised, deliver me, O Jesus. From the desire of being preferred to others, deliver me, O Jesus. From the desire of being consulted, deliver me, O Jesus. From the desire of being approved, deliver me, O Jesus. From the fear of being humiliated, deliver me, O Jesus. From the fear of being despised, deliver me, O Jesus. From the fear of suffering rebukes, deliver me, O Jesus. From the fear of being calumniated, deliver me, O Jesus. From the fear of being forgotten, deliver me, O Jesus. From the fear of being ridiculed, deliver me, O Jesus. From the fear of being wronged, deliver me, O Jesus. From the fear of being suspected, deliver me, O Jesus. That others may be loved more than I, Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may be esteemed more than I, Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That, in the opinion of the world, others may increase and I may decrease, Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may be chosen and I set aside, Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may be praised and I go unnoticed, Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may be preferred to me in everything, Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. That others may become holier than I, provided that I may become as holy as I should, Jesus, grant me the grace to desire it. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Like I said, I added that into my prayer life last Lenten season. If you are looking for a prayer to add into your life, please try this one. 40 days. I know it seems like a really long prayer, and it did at the beginning, but by the end of the 40 days, I was really able to almost do Lectio Divina on it. I know that's not what Lectio Divina is, but I was able to pick out the parts of the prayer that really meant something to me that day. So I encourage you to add this into your prayer life. It's a beautiful, long, but beautiful prayer. All right. So what is Lent? Lent starts on Ash Wednesday, which happens to be St. Valentine's Day this year. And it goes for 40 days until Easter Sunday. Now, I tend to not do the little Easters that we get, which means that on Sundays during Lent, we get to take a break from whatever we're fasting from. I don't like to do that because I feel like once I start taking a break, then I just give everything up. So I choose not to do the little Easters, but if that is something that really helps motivate you to keep you on your fast, by all means, do it. It's like the opposite. It's just not motivational for me. So I tend not to take our Sundays off. Okay. So traditionally, you are supposed to sacrifice something for Lent to draw you closer to God in this 40 days. So I know that not only Catholics are the only Christian denomination that do Lent. I know there are several Christian denominations that do Lent. In fact, when my husband and I were part of the Methodist Church, we participated in Lent every year that we were there. And here's my funny story. So if this is something that you are thinking of giving up for Lent, you can totally do this and be as silly as me. Anyway, so one Lent, I had decided that I was going to give up chocolate, which is really hard for me to do because I am a person that I like to eat a little bit of chocolate every day. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of it. But at this time in our life, I was eating way too many sweets. And I knew that if I started with chocolate, that maybe just cutting that out would help me cut out other sweets as well. So the problem with that is I'm really too sneaky for my own good. I was going to say smart. I'm not really that smart. I'm just sneaky. And if there is a rule for me to not break, but get around. I'm really good at that. So the year that I decided to give up chocolate for Lent, I looked up if I could eat white chocolate. So if this is something you're giving up, you can, if you've given up chocolate, you can eat white chocolate and it doesn't break your fast because they're not from the same source, kind of. So chocolate comes from the cacao nibs. White chocolate comes from cacao butter or cocoa butter, and it's not the same thing. So I ate a lot of white chocolate that Lent season, and I'm ashamed that my husband had to point it out to me that I kind of missed the point of sacrificing something. He was like, with all of those hours of research you did to make sure that you could eat white chocolate, you could have been praying, you could have been reading your Bible, you could have been doing anything else. But I literally spent hours researching if I could have white chocolate. I missed the point. And he was right. And I had to eat a piece of humble pie. So this year I am giving up things in excess. So what I mean by that is I am giving up sweets. I mentioned last week that I was still living on cruise time. And cruise time means that you can get a dessert after breakfast and you can get a dessert after lunch and after dinner. And then if you want another dessert after all of those desserts, you can still get it because on a cruise, anything goes. And if you've ever been on like a cruise ship that's massive, you are really burning a lot of calories getting from one place to the next. We went on a cruise ship where the elevators really were not great. So we were constantly walking up and down, up and down, up and down. So those calories were being burnt, but I'm not walking that much now. So sweets are going in excess. Now, I know that every once in a while I will probably have some dark chocolate, and that's okay. I just don't want to eat the way I was eating and be okay. Last year, I tried to give up dairy for Lent, and I actually was only able to do it for about a day. So I will not be trying that again this year. Last year, I also tried to give up listening to music, and I failed miserably at that as well. I have done a better job with that. I do fasting from music or podcast or really anything super distracting like noise in the car on my way to work and when I'm driving by myself. So I do silence that way because I do think that there are graces that come from silence that way. The other thing I'm in excess that I'm giving up this year is I am giving up excess shopping, which is kind of hard. I really like supporting the small boutiques in my town. And by really like, I mean, their children will probably be able to go to Harvard or Yale, and my children will not be. It's not that bad. But I do spend a lot of money on clothing, and I need to curb that just a bit. I am going through a big discernment process right now that would be a change for my family as a monetary change for my family. And before I do that, I want to give up my shopping so that I can make sure that my family is okay financially. And so I need to curb my spending. It is what it is. So excess shopping is something that I will be giving up. And also, this one is a big one for me is that I will be giving up, to the best of my ability, excess anger. And this is something that hit me over the head last weekend. I tend to be a hothead and I get angry very quickly and then almost instantaneously regret things I've said, yelling, all of that. This, in fact, is one of my vices that I confess on a regular basis. I don't like how angry I get very quickly. And I tend to hold on to anger, and that has a really big effect on your spirituality and your relationship with Christ, and it has an effect on your relationship with others, obviously, and also your body physically. And so I've noticed that I need to work on it, and it's no longer a yeah, I'll work on it and then I don't. So this 40 days, I'm really choosing to focus on that as what I give up, because it's starting to affect relationships. And, I don't want anybody to think like I walk around as an angry person all the time. I don't. It's just when situations arise that I have no control over. And really that's what my anger is I want full control over something and I want it right now. And I need to take a step back and I need to pray and I need to ask for guidance and I need to ask for assistance from my guardian angel. And when I feel myself getting that way, instead of letting myself yell and feel more out of control, I need to take a step back and I need to let God fully be present with me in that moment. So I'm giving up excess anger, excess shopping, excess sweets. So those are some ideas if you're looking for ideas on what to give up. Now, let's talk about some things that you can add. And I always add some sort of prayer into my life. So last year, I did the Litany of Humility for the 40 days. This year, I purchased off of Amazon, though you can probably still get it on the Ave Maria website, is the Ave Devotionals, Turn to the Cross, Daily Prayers for Lent and Holy Week 2024. So I'm assuming that this is something that Ave Maria Press puts out every year. And it's really nice. I'm just going to turn to a random page and kind of explain what each page has. It looks like there's a small little devotional, and then it has a prayer for the morning, a traveling question, and then a prayer for the evening. So what I plan on doing is putting this downstairs where our kitchen is, and then grabbing it when I have my cup of coffee and reading the very short paragraph of the devotional, doing the morning prayer, and then taking the traveling question with me, obviously, and thinking about that while I'm fasting from noise and outside distractions in the car. And then after dinner, I will do the evening prayer that's part of this devotional. So I'm really excited. This is the first year I've done that. Last year as a devotional, I did the Blessed is She Lenten devotional. I absolutely loved it and I 100% recommend it. It is a little pricey, but it is worth it. That is how I found out that I love Lectio Divina. It is one of my favorite practices. And if I would not have gotten the Blessed is She Lenten devotional, I probably would not have picked up Lectio Divina. I love their formats for their Lenten devotionals because like on Mondays, you read a story. On Tuesdays, you do Lectio Divina. On Wednesdays, you do something. Fridays was always a rosary. And in my rosary podcast, I had mentioned that I dreaded the first couple of weeks that Friday was the rosary. And by the time that Lent was over and I was just so used to this rhythm that Blessed as She puts, I was looking forward to Fridays. I couldn't wait to do that as part of my Lent devotional. So I will link both of those in the show notes. The other thing that you can do is go to Holy Cross Family Ministries. Last year they had a Lent kit that we did as a family, and my kids really enjoyed it. The other thing we've done as a family is we have done a decade of the rosary every day. And we've talked about one of the mysteries that you talk about. And so we have done that and it worked out really well for my kids. And my friend Alicia at No Heart Untouched has these really cute, kid-friendly rosary tablet type things that you put these cute little fluffy pom-pom things. And for every Hail Mary, you put the little fluffy pom-pom thing on the tablet. I'm really bad at explaining this. It is on, though, the Stand Kneel Now What podcast Facebook page. That is the picture of one of the decades that she has. So I will link that as well. I think that is a really good practice as a family and something that's quick and easy and keeps your kids not entertained, engaged is what I was looking for, engaged during that time. So that was a really, really quick. I will make sure to link everything in the show notes and also put what I am giving up and adding in this year. Just remember that this time of Lent is not only supposed to be 40 days of sacrifice or 40 days of adding in prayers, but it's a great time for us as a Christian community. And I'm not even talking just a Catholic community, I'm talking Christians to come together, because the greatest thing that Jesus did for us was to save us by dying on the cross, and that is coming up, and we need to be prepared to really take that in. Yes, it is a sad time, but it's also such a beautiful gift that Jesus did, and one that is so hard for words. And so we need to prepare our hearts and we need to prepare our souls for this time, because it's so beautiful. And Lent doesn't have to be like, oh man, I gave up chocolate. Ugh. Or man, I didn't do my decade of this today. It's just a time for us to grow in our relationship with Christ, because yes, Christ died for everybody and died for everybody's sins and took all that on. But he also did it for you as an individual, me as an individual. And so the more that you and I can work on our relationship with Christ, the more that light's going to shine for our families, the more that light's going to shine for our friends. I truly believe that when we have our spark ignited and that we make sure that our spark and our flame for the Lord is constantly lit and ready to go, that is only going to light other people's sparks. So that is my challenge for you. Just really get your spark lit this Lenten season so that you can go and shine that light for others, because it is a beautiful season. It can be hard. It's hard to be that obedient when you don't necessarily want to be, but it is so good for us, and it is so good for our relationship with Christ. All right, let's get into some odd one out results from last week. We did the Super Bowl party foods last week, and your choices were buffalo chicken wings, tater skins, or fried pickles. And the results were that buffalo chicken wings were the odd one out. They came in at 55%. Tater skins came in second place at 27%, and fried pickles came in third at 18%. My opinion is the potato skins are the odd one out, only because it's the only one that's not fried. I actually played this game with my students the other day to kind of prepare for the Super Bowl as a class, and they came up with some pretty interesting answers. I'm trying to think of the funniest one. I think it was the boneless chicken wings, because they were covered in a sauce and you dip them in a sauce. So I thought that was pretty clever of them. All right. So this week's odd one out, we are entering into Lent, if you couldn't tell, and we are going to choose which one is the odd one out. And I chose 3 choices of things that are pretty popular for people to give up as their sacrifice for Lent. So choice number 1 is social media, because a lot of people give up all forms of social media during Lent. Choice number 2 is sweets. I know a lot of people give up sweets for Lent, me included. And then choice number 3 is alcohol. So social media, sweets, or alcohol will be the choices that you have for this week's odd one out. I hope you have a great week, a great start to the Lenten season. Go get the ashes on your forehead, Ash Wednesday. I will be at Mass. I'm really excited to go to Mass this Ash Wednesday. We got out Wednesday, and I'm sure you can kind of guess why, but I'm not going to go ahead and tell you. Anyway, so we are out of school on Wednesday, so I get to go to Mass, and I'm really looking forward to it. As always, if this podcast has blessed you in some way, shape, or form, please like, share, subscribe. Anything helps. The algorithms all wonkadoodle nowadays anyway. So like, share, subscribe. Let's grow this community. And next week, I will be discussing some great small Catholic businesses to buy your first communion gifts from. And I actually have in my possession a beautiful bracelet from a company that I'm really excited to share. So I'm looking forward to next week's episode as well. Have a great rest of the week. Please have a blessed start to your Lenten season. And for my Catholic friends, remember that we need to abstain from meat on Fridays and also on Ash Wednesday. It is a day of fasting and preparing our hearts. All right, have a great week. I will see you next week.